All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Yoga and Meditation with Mindful Michael. My name is Michael, and I'm a yoga and meditation instructor based all over the place nowadays. So today we're going to be doing a really gentle flow. If you're watching this later, thanks for joining me. And feel free to fast forward on because, I'm going to be killing time for a little bit before we get into it. I do have a yoga block, two yoga blocks, a yoga blanket, and a yoga blanket, as opposed to just a regular blanket. There's no difference. Hi, welcome in. And we're going to get started here in a little bit. So yeah, I have two blocks, a mat, and a blanket. And we'll be getting started here in a sec. So let me just get set up. I'll give you my little setup here. I have a nice little yoga section today. I will say for the first couple minutes of our class today, we're going to be doing a it's a laying on the floor, but we're going to be using the mat to sort of create a uh, a block of flow in our energy temporarily, so that we can allow it to release. So in yoga, there's a lot of playing with uh, the tension energy in order to help find flow and release energy. So yeah, we'll be playing with a little bit of that today. I will say today's class is super chill, super calm. The hardest thing we're doing is a side plank for like half a breath. And there will be modifications for that, so don't you worry. But I'm going to give it a few more moments till we get all settled in, because I know we have some people joining us shortly for that noontime vibe. So yeah, I do want to say I know that there's a lot going on. I'm not located in Tucson, but I do know that there's a lot going on in Tucson, and my heart goes out to anybody who's affected right now by either the huge upsurge in things or also by the fires that are going on. My heart is so going out to all of you. And keep your eyes out. If you're interested in learning more about me, you should follow along on my social media accounts. My social media is Mindful Michael. And on Instagram is like the main place where you'll find me. And you might be finding me in the Tucson area later on this year. So keep an eye out. It'll be a good time. But let's go ahead. Oh no, it's just now 2 o'clock, or just now 12 where y'all are. So I'm going to give it a minute. But no sense in taking too much time, because our first pose we're going to be there for a little while. So maybe we'll start getting that set up. So we're going to be working with we're going to be soothing the third chakra today, which is the power center. So in times like these, with a lot of strain and stress, our power center tends to get challenged in a lot of different ways. It's also the center of our identity. So think of it as like a platform through which you know and understand yourself. And when you have a piece of your identity knocked away by a circumstance, maybe you move to a new city and suddenly your identity as a citizen of your old city is taken away and you have to find that new identity. It's about finding balance within yourself. So we're going to be focusing on how to activate that, and then we're just going to be allowing the body to release any of the blocked energy that comes up from that. And it'll be all through some chill relaxation. But first, we're going to build just that little bit of fire, and it's deceiving fire because you're going to think it's a little bit easy when you look at it, but when you're doing it, you're going to feel the interesting energy. So we're going to be laying face down on our mat. But before you do that, you can either take a blanket and roll it up, or you can just take the mat, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to roll up the back half of my mat, only to about, for me, I like about halfway on this. Sometimes I like about 2/3 of the way up. So where you're placing this roll right here is going to be right between the hips and the ribs. So I have a short torso, my hips are right here and my ribs are right here. So it's going to be placed along that soft space. You probably have more space than me, so you might like even more of your mat rolled up. So when you come to lay on this, if you've eaten any food in like the last hour, you just lay face down on the mat. Leave this out because it's not going to feel that great. But if you're like me and you're waiting until after class to eat, you're going to lay yourself right down where you have that roll. It's just a little bit of pressure right on your solar plexus, like right in that area, just below the rib cage, right above the hips, kind of across the belly button. And feel how that slight pressure, you might even start to feel your heartbeat down in. I'm going to lay all the way down. I let my heels fall away so that they can be open. It's a nice inward rotation for my hips. And I can have my head turned to either side, or I can have the forehead down to the earth. Really simple. So while we have our head to the side, all we're doing is relaxing through the body, allowing our breath and intention to come into the practice. This is that beautiful point of stillness when you let everything come to a complete stop. You might even notice that this little bit of pressure makes you start to sweat a little bit. This is the third chakra. It's the fire center. It's powerful. And even this little bit of pressure starts to create a buildup of fire energy. So I'm going to be here for a few more minutes because I want you to notice how this energy, even though you're laying on the floor, encourages you to start to tense up in certain places, maybe behind the neck, maybe along the jaw, maybe along the eyes. And can you allow your shoulders to soften, the sides of your neck to find ease? Let everything unfurl in this moment. Feeling how you can draw your breath all the way down into the soles of the feet, allowing the space between the toes to soften, the space between the fingers, the space between the ears, maybe even if you're lucky. And when you're ready, you can turn your head to the other side for a moment, or you might even like bringing yourself up to Sphinx. So this will start to get you up off that prop a little bit. See if you can have your hands pressing down into the ground. Use that to start dragging the heart forward. Feel how that opens the shoulders, it opens across the chest so the shoulders start to draw back and down. So I really have my heart reaching here. And I have my elbows just below my shoulders. Lots of opening for the heart and for the back of the neck. All the way that space between my shoulder blades, I think of softening there and feel that send all the way up through the crown, lengthening my ears away from the shoulders. As I exhale, I drag the heart forward, I release the elbows wide and I lower down. Hands are gonna come by the chest and I'm picking up my hips and I'm coming to child's pose off that mat. So let yourself soften. My knees are nice and wide, my toes are touching. I'm letting everything relax and really focusing on that openness now across the belly. Feel how you relax your breath into the earth. And feel how on your exhales you melt wide in all directions. You might flip the palms to face the ceiling, relaxing the shoulders back and down, taking that moment to really open up. And imagine if there's anything that is keeping you from your practice today, either mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Start to see that thing in the palms of your hands. For the next 45 minutes, see those things lifted. See yourself as free and open from them, trusting that you'll be much clearer and able to handle them after class. As you exhale, let yourself soak the palms back down into the earth. And walk yourself on up to sitting. We're going to unroll our mat and get on it. So here we go. If you wanted the folded blanket under your knees for a little bit of padding, not a bad thing to have if you have sensitive knees. Otherwise, let's get on into it. From the child's pose, nice and long, we're going to walk the hands over to the right side edge of the mat, letting our left hip relax over. So I have my hand off, and I even have a little interlace right here. So it's let me soften. Taking a big breath in to open the side of the body. As you exhale, it all ease out. With an inhale, walk through center, over to the left, softening in. Big breath in. Exhaling out. Inhale back to center. And exhale, release. On an inhale, come on up to hands and knees. Place the hands directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips. So take a moment here because we tend to have where our hands are a little bit further ahead of us. Make sure you really have that true form. You can leave the toes untucked. Inhale, sink the belly low, curl the tail and crown. Wide heart still like in Sphinx. As you exhale, press the hands wide into the earth, belly button to spine. Nice long curve in the back. So take your own breath cycle. Let your own breath decide your pace. While you're creating this curvature, I want you to think about how the two end points of the curve, they start to reach and lengthen to extend and deepen the curve. And if you let your breath do the work, you'll find there is so much more mobility waiting to be discovered in your spine. If only you took the time to let it come to you. Start to get into the side body. You're moving like a jump rope in the spine. Think of your rib cage as a spatula scooping around the bowl. Really get all the batter, all the cookie dough out. And switching directions. Yeah, the price you pay for eating lunch after yoga is that the metaphors start to get a little more food-like. And when you're ready, you can start to go free form if you'd like. You can let the spine move almost like a snake. You can shift hips around towards the heels. You can let the shoulders go up past the hands. Some yogis like to turn the fingertips towards the earth. I'm going to tilt my camera down just a little bit. You keep moving in free form. It'll all be chill for you. So if you do have the fingers back, you might like going back towards the heels. It gives you that nice, beautiful, sorry, Siri, I don't need you, but it gives you that nice, beautiful opening across the wrists and forearms. It can be very relaxing. You might even start to flip the backs of the hands down towards the earth, letting yourself ease a bit. But no matter what you're doing, if you're free form and enjoying it, living your best life, you can take that moment when you start to let things peter out, and you can feel how the ripples remain and how some of the movement is still being desired. And when you let all of that go, you find you have a beautiful floating sensation in your spine, almost like you're floating at the surface of a pond. Feel how there's always a little bit of movement happening. You're never completely still. So from here, nice long reach from the wrist to the shoulder. I'm letting the heart sink down towards the earth for a moment. Then I'm going to roll the shoulders on my back onto the back of my heart, and I press my hands into the earth to suction my heart up into my shoulder blades. Such a stronger position than anything else I could do here. From there, I tuck the toes under, and as I exhale, I hover the knees 1 inch. Think of lengthening the hips and the ribs away from each other. Feel how that helps zip you up. And when you're ready, take a big inhale, walk yourself long to a plank, no matter what you need to do, walking the hands or feet. And as you exhale, send it back into the down dog, press the earth away overhead, and start to pedal through the feet. So really enjoy sitting in a one hip versus the other. Let the knees cross the midline of the body. When you look down, let the knees cross from center to the other side. It really helps get the waist to release. Notice the tendency to judge your down dog before you even get there. Notice if your hamstrings are tight. That's not a problem. It's just the progress. So if your hamstrings are tight, when you settle into your down dog, I want you to have a little bend in your knees so you can really reach the hips up. And then you can open up from there. Shoulders are on the back of the heart. Full hand is pressing. Take a big inhale in here. Exhale, let the heels melt. And from here, start to walk the feet in towards the hands. Take your time with this. It's the most luxurious, delicious part of the whole practice, so don't leave it out. When you get to the top of your mat, let yourself have a nice forward fold, feet are hip width apart, and you hang out for a minute. You can have a bend in the knees, that's totally fine. If you'd like, you can hook the elbows and sway, making sure to release from the space between the shoulder blades, right in here, all the way out the top of the head, like a big drain. Notice how your heels are heavy into the mat. You don't want to be too far forward in your toes, it won't feel good. Make sure you've got the heel action going, the bent knee helps. When you're ready, you'll release the hands, release the sway. You'll shake the head no. Nod the head yes. Roll it around maybe so. And from here, you're going to bend in the knees, curl under in the pelvis. Press strong into the earth, root through the tailbone down. Feel that connection is what rolls you up. Take your time. And when you feel yourself float to the top, roll your shoulders up by the ears. Big inhale in, shoulders up. And exhale, let it settle down the spine. I'll come back into the screen in a second. Inhale, take the hands high overhead, big reach. As you exhale, swan dive forward. You're painting the room as you hinge at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, take a flat back, big length. So my spine is flat. If I need to bend the knees for that, that's great. As you exhale, belly button to spine, drape over. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. As you exhale, plant the hands, step back to your plank. From here, we reach nice and long. And you're going to lower all the way down onto the mat, untuck the toes. Woo, goodness, thank goodness. From here, you're going to take the hands off mat's edge onto tents with the palms. So make little teepees with your fingers. Elbows are at a right angle, pointing straight up to the sky. All of this is right in line with my heart. So from here, shoulders are on the back. Inhale, ripple the spine up, grow out of the top of the head. It's a wide cobra. I'm relaxed and lifeless through my legs. As I exhale, I lengthen the heart to lower down. Inhale, rippling up. As you exhale, dip the left shoulder forward, peek under the right elbow. Inhale, roll through center. Exhale, peek under the left elbow, dip the right shoulder forward. Inhale through center. Exhale, lengthen to lower down. Hands come by the heart. Inhale, pick up the hips. Sit back to child's pose. Knees are nice and wide. Bow in. Taking a moment to breathe here. Exhale, softening. Inhale, come on up. Hands and knees. From here, tuck the toes. Find your down dog. Lift the hips up and back. Take that moment to pedal before you settle. And when you do settle in your down dog, it's our first long down dog of the day. So we'll be here for 3 breath cycles. As you inhale, think of inhaling up through the hands into the hips. As you exhale, think of relaxing that breath down the backs of the legs, into the heels, into the earth. So it's like you're breathing the energy out of the ground. Inhale up. Exhale down through the hips. The last one, inhaling up through the hands. Feel that reach into the sits bones. And as you exhale, start to pedal the feet in towards the front of the mat. Take your time. So from here, when you're ready to take the weight into the feet, just hang out. So if for you, your hamstrings are too tight to really walk all the way in, take as much as you can, and then complete the journey with big steps. So from here, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, belly button to spine, forward fold. So reverse swan dive. Gather the energy like a big bag and a drawstring. Big inhale up. Hands are high overhead as you exhale. Bring hands to heart center like they're in a little prayer position at the heart. Inhale, take the hands high again, press the feet. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold, like Pocahontas diving off the waterfall. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, take your plank, big inhale at the back. As you exhale, lower all the way down. From here, untuck the toes, reach the arms long overhead. So we're going to work on connecting our anatomy, but then lengthening to find a lift. So from here, I'm lengthening out of we'll start with the legs. I'm gonna think of reaching out of my back right toe. So as I lengthen out of that hip space, it's gonna help me lift. Feeling just that reach does make it a little bit lighter. Feel how that light lift comes up. As you exhale, you're lengthening to lower down. So when you do that, there's a tendency to reach the leg out of the hip socket. As you reach out of the hip socket, feel that lengthening out of the toe to lift. Then think of plugging the leg back into the hip. Feel that connection, that strength. Then only the little bit reach out of the toe will take it even higher. I'm so relaxed through my low back. As I exhale, I lengthen the lower down. I'm going to take that on the left side. This time I'll have my hands here so that I don't have to look at you while I'm demoing, because really that could build tension in the neck. Anyway, so from here, I'm lengthening out of my left toe. As I lengthen out of the toe, it allows the leg to start to lift. From there, I'm going to plug the leg up into the hip, and then I lengthen to find that even more lift off. So my tendency is to turn out a little bit. Think of the inseam of your leg reaching towards the ceiling. That's going to keep it parallel. As you lengthen, let it lower down. So from here, we'll do that with the arms, reaching out of the right arms, or out of the right fingertips. It's going to lengthen to lift off. I'm long behind my neck. Then I plug the arm into the shoulder, real strong to the back of the heart. And then the littlest reach out of my middle finger will get me more length. And I lengthen to lower down. Take the left side, and then we'll start combining things. So from here, lengthening out of the left fingertips, feel that lift. Plug the arm into the shoulder, then lengthen out of the fingertips to get that lift off. Lengthen to lower down. So from here, right arm, left leg. So lengthening out of those opposite limbs, that gives you that lift off. I'm long out of my crown and tail to match. Plug the limbs into the body and then feel that little bit of length, how that gives you so much more lift. Lengthen to lower down. From here, lengthening out of left hand, right leg. Feel the arms plug, the arm and leg plug into the body. Then find that lift off. Lengthen to lower down. So from here, we're going to do all four limbs at the same time. Feel your lengthening expansion. Plug into the body. Feel that light lift. Your breath is moving. You're nice and chill. Lengthen to lower down. So from here, hands by the chest. Inhale, pick up the hips. And find your child's pose. Knees wide, toes touching. Bow in. Soften in here. Oh, I got some sweat in my eye. Starting to cook. That's good. Okay, so from here, inhale, walk the hands over to the right side edge of the mat. As you exhale, left hip is heavy. Take a breath to expand the rib cage. Exhale, soften. Walk over to the other side, big inhale in. Exhale, letting yourself soften through that left hip. Inhaling. Full exhale out. Walking back to center. And we breathe here. Inhale, come on up. So from here, tuck the toes. Find your down dog. Pressing nice and strong. Inhale up through the hips. Exhale down. From here, walk the feet in towards the hands. Take your time and enjoy. And again, if you can only get to here, finish it. It's fine. Make the adjustments. Yoga is not about perfection. It's about practice and breathing. From inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, belly button to spine, drape over. Inhale, reverse swan dive, gather the energy, press strong through the feet, squeeze the glutes. As you exhale, hands gather to heart center there in prayer. From here, press the hands into the earth, hands high, or press the feet into the earth, hands high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your plank. We'll take that one more time through our what's called Shalambhasana. Lower on down, untuck the toes, lengthen out the arms. Feel the length out of the body in all directions. Plug into the torso, and then get your lift off. Lengthen to lower down. From here, hands by the chest. Option to full push-up, or you can come back through your child's pose and meet us back in the plank. We'll do it. So shoulders on the back of the heart, elbows pinned in, toes tucked under. Zip up the core, squeeze the glutes, and press. Exhale the way up. From here, you're going to press back to down dog. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, soften the heels. Take your way into the front of your mat, forward fold, and hang chill. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. From here, you're going to plant the hands and step the right foot back for your lunge. Nice and chill here. Take some time to start rocking back and forth. If you're somebody who wants to have your hands on blocks here, put your hands on blocks here. If you don't know that you want your hands on blocks yet, go get you some blocks. It'll help. giving you just a little bit more space to work with if you're wanting. So I'm letting my hip get used to being in this open position before I lower the back knee down and untuck the toe. Then I'm going to come up for my 90-90. If you practiced with me before, you know I love this position and this stretch. So good for opening up the front of the hip. 90 degree, 90 degree. Big inhale in. As you exhale, soften into the front of the hip, send the tailbone down. Think of hugging the hips together, it gathers. As you exhale, let yourself send into the front of the hip. Listen to your breath and the hip. They'll communicate for you. Last one of these, big inhale in. As you exhale, let it all soften. So from here, hands come to frame the front foot. We're shifting the hips back, taking that hamstring stretch. So I'm going for having my hip over my knee over here. And then I don't have to have this leg completely straight at all. I can have a nice bend, but as long as I'm flexing strong through my ankle, that's protecting the knee, all I have to do is think of sending my hip crease further back, like pulling back a slingshot or a bow and arrow. From there, I'm breathing into this hamstring like I have a little lung in there, imagining that my breath goes all the way up to that space, and notice how that really helps things open up quickly. So if you're struggling here and you're not really feeling like like this is opening up and you're not relating to my experience at all, maybe take your hands on some blocks, because if you're able to get your torso nice and lifted, your heart open, your spine straight, that's when the hamstring is really going to want to join the party. The hamstring will be like, oh, that's what you wanted me to do. She had said so. So from here, you might start to take the flexed foot, turning out from the hip. It's almost like a dial on your dashboard. Start to turn the toes out. It all comes from all the way up here in the hips. You might even start to turn in a little bit, getting that inward rotation. Letting things be easy. Notice if your jaw starts to clench or any tension creeps in. Coming from that flex parallel position, you're going to rebend the knee. The foot is flat. Lose the blocks if you got it. From here, that back shin spins to be parallel with the short edge of your mat, and you come to what we call Peter Pan position. So sitting nice and tall, open heart, you're going to strengthen, and that I'm lengthening through the top of my foot. Some people tend to flex. Let yourself lengthen. Think of reaching as much as you can, your roots down into the earth. From here, right hand goes to the back of the mat, pressing nice and strong. Left hand traces up and over. You're in my favorite position, stargazer. I also think of it as when you go lay out in the summer and you start to get that pale stripe down the side body, you can feel how the sun starts to touch on that space. You might even press nice and strong with this hand down into the earth. Feel how that helps you widen the heart across the right side, and it advocates for a stronger position overall. Pressing strong into the left side or the right side of the body down into the earth, it expands the left. As you exhale, you're hinging at the hips. You're sending the hips down towards the heel, and you're coming to sit in a nice, chill, seated position with your left leg straight. Right leg is in butterfly. So take a moment sitting nice and tall. You might like to have a folded blanket underneath the hips if you're needing that lift for the low back. From here, all I'm going to do is take my right hand, reach as high as I can, and then reach as far forward as I can. When I can't reach anymore, that's when I'm allowed to relax over and grab a hold of the outside edge of the foot, ankle, calf, knee, whatever thigh, and breathing. So while you're relaxing over, there's going to be a lot of tension building up. You'll become aware of that heat in the hamstring. We're getting into a deeper space here with that stretch. So start to notice the tension that comes into the foot, and can you let it leave the toes? So relaxing over here, bowing in. You might have that oppositional stretch. It helps open the IT band if that's something that interests you. It's the whole outside of the ankle, calf, leg situation. And very easily coming to sit up nice and tall. We're going to take the hands and interlace the fingers. Heels of the hands are going to start massaging along the top of the quad here. You can get your heel of the left hand along the IT band there, just getting to loosen up some of that muscle and for some of the fascial tissue in there. Just letting things get a little bit more supple and open and released. So something to consider about yoga is that we train our bodies to be active and fiery, but we don't train our bodies how to relax and breathe and be the opposite of what weightlifting and quick cardio gives us. But here we get to practice a balance of them both. This is your opportunity to find out the self-soothing side that your body needs in its regimen. So when you're ready, you're going to sit up nice and tall. Bring the right knee in so the foot is flat. From here, you're going to flex the foot, grab a hold of the outside edge of the foot. Sit up so tall. You're going to lift the heel up off the earth. So notice how already you might be hunching down. If you are, press your foot into your hand. Pull back with the hand against the foot and feel how that leverages the tall spine for you. You might hang out right here. Notice how active my standing leg is. From here, I'm going to start kicking the leg towards straight. If that feels good, Or I might also have my right hand up and I might open out for that twist, giving yourself that nice length out. So kicking out of the heel, starting to feel like our side plank that I had talked about at the beginning of class probably isn't going to happen, but that's okay. The Stargazer does just as well. From here, you're going to gently release back out of that twist. If you need to rebend the knee, great. If you have the knee bent already, great. From here, you're going to lower the heel back down. Then from here, I'm going to let this fall open, nice and chill, and I'm going to bring my left leg in to bend. So I'm going to make some slight adjustments so the leg is a little more in front of me shin-wise. And I'm going to pick the left foot up and place it outside the right thigh. So I have a beautiful seated twist ready to happen. Both my hips are down on the earth. I'm not picking up my left side, nice and square and grounded. From here, I'm hugging in nice and close with the leg, big inhale in. And as you exhale, twist over the left shoulder. So notice how tall and straight my spine is. Every time I inhale, I really activate that, sending my tailbone down into the floor, sending my crown up into the sky. And as I exhale, deepening the twist, belly button into spine. Inhale finds the length. The exhale just encourages, even if there's no change in the body position itself, just the energy of twisting and deepening. It wrings out the core. Gently release the twist. You're going to open to the right side, giving yourself the open twist. Same rules apply. And from here, we're going to take our hands to the earth in front of us and just simply bow in. Press the top or the full foot here down into the ground. It helps open the hip, releasing. Big inhale in. Full exhale out. And coming back up to center. From here, we're taking fire log pose, which, turning face you, has my ankles and knees stacked so that I've got it's like two pieces of firewood, right? Or you can do a cross-legged position if that works for you. If you need to be seated on a block so you're even higher, take that. So from here, I'm sitting nice and tall, and I'm going to exhale, bringing my heart forward and thinking of hinging at the hips again, and I relax over. So from here, we'll be at the side view. Getting my mat back in order. Relaxing over. Feeling how you can breathe into the heart space right here. Notice how, because when you try to breathe into the belly or what's in front, there's a limited space in a forward fold. And sometimes that adds more tension than it does relaxation. But if you remember to breathe into the back of the heart, into the back of the lungs here, it's going to be amazing. So if you are in that fire log position or some sort of seated cross-legged position, you have an opportunity. You can walk your hands over to the right side edge of your mat, relaxing in. Using the breath to trace through the body. Exhaling. From here, we'll walk ourselves back to center and come on up to sit tall. So we're coming through the cross-legged position and finding our way to hands and knees. Very easy, just cross at the ankles, place the hands, and release on back. So for taking a moment here, we're going to cat and cow, just getting the body back into action. Doing a few things before we transition to our other side. You might even notice how one side really does feel different from the other. You can go free form right away as you need. Just make sure you're listening to the breath and the body. And when you've had a good taste of that, let yourself find the nice flat back. The toes can stay untucked. We're going to press the right hand into the earth. Left hand comes high, big inhale in. As you exhale, thread the left hand underneath the elbow. Back of the left shoulder places on the earth, and just placing the side of the head down on the ground. So this is a different twist. I'm pressing nice and strong with my right hand to help encourage that twist in the spine. And I'm squeezing my glutes so my hips stay square over my shoulder, over my feet. And then from here, I might crawl my right fingertips to the front of my mat, tensing the palms, press the fingers down into the earth, roll the shoulder back and down. Feel the length sending all the way out the outside edge of the arm, through the pinky finger even, down into the earth. Breathe into the back of the heart here. Exhale. Right hand's coming by the face. Press down to bring the left hand up. And take the hand back down to the earth. We'll take the other side of that. So press the left hand into the earth, right hand comes up. As you exhale, thread the hand underneath the armpit. Back of the right shoulder down on the earth, side of the face down on the earth. Squeeze the glutes so hips are over the feet. And then crawl the left fingertips towards the front of the mat. Tent the palms. Draw the shoulder back and down and press the fingertips down into the earth. Feel how that opens the back of the heart and the wing underneath the left side. As you exhale, bring the left hand back into the earth or by the face. Press down into the ground. Left right hand comes up and nice and chill. So from here, tuck the toes under, find your down dog. And start to notice what's different, one side versus the other. Gently starting to walk the feet in towards the hands, taking your time. And what do you say? Get into the other side of that. So from here, inhale, halfway lift, flat back. As you exhale, plant the hands. You're stepping the left foot back for the lunge. So take a moment just to get used to this position. You can rock back and forth very easily. So this is about opening the front of the hip and the quad. So as you lower the knee down, untuck the toe, let yourself come on up for that 90-90. So take the hands on the hips, make sure that the hips are hugging together, and make sure that think of having suspenders on that are coming up from the front of the hip all the way up to the shoulders and down the back. As you exhale, keep the suspenders on, send the tailbone down, and send over into the front of the hip. Nice and big. Exhaling, can you deepen? So think of hugging the inner thighs and the hips together. Inhale. It brings you up to that 90-90. As you exhale, you send into the front of the hip. So by breathing and moving at the same time, it's massaging the hip open from the inside. So you don't have to do that work of being in that misery of sitting in the bottom of the stretch. Finding the dynamic movement does more for you than against you. And if you lose your balance, you find your form again and settle. So from here, hands plant to the earth or on blocks, and you're shifting the hips back for your hamstring stretch. Flex strong in that foot. So flexing in the ankle and foot protects the knee joint. It's quite a tricky little guy, but that will keep it from doing any weird tweaking. From there, you're pulling the hip crease back like a bow and arrow, and you're breathing into the hamstring here. You're focusing on lengthening out of crown and tail. That'll get the hamstring to open a lot sooner. Start to move, turning in and out. Moving your breath from heel all the way up into the hip. Feel that length. Yeah. Returning back to parallel, you're going to rebend the knee, lose the blocks if you haven't already. Flip the back shin to be parallel with the short edge of your mat and come on up for your 90 or for your Peter Pan position. You're lengthening out the right leg again, tops of the toes reaching into the earth like roots growing into the ground. Right hand at the back of the mat, left hand reaching nice and tall and open. Feeling how it's about pressing down into the earth with the knee and hand and how that spreads the whole side body open. Feel how the shoulder has a tendency to roll forward. Can you roll it onto the back and get the heart to widen? Feeling how you extend out of the fingertips and toe tips on forever. Imagine them connecting on the other side of the earth. And as you exhale, you're hinging at the hips. You're sitting towards the heel. Swing the arm forward and come to sit in your Janu Shirshasana is what it's called. Fancy word for one leg straight, one leg in butterfly. Make sure the hips are square. From here, if you need to be seated on that folded blanket again for higher hips, take a moment to adjust that. Then reach out of the left hand as tall as you can, then as far forward as you can. When you cannot reach any further forward, you grab a hold of the outside edge of the foot, ankle, whatever you got, and bow in. Noticing what happens in the throat space and the jaw space. Can you allow that to soften as the tension starts to build in? Feeling how maybe that even helps you relax across the forehead and across the eyebrows, the temples and cheekbones. And if you want, you can hang out here in the stretch, or you're welcome to interlace the fingers and take the heels of the hands along the quad, getting into the outside edge of the leg here, right along the IT band, the iliotibial tract, or the iliotibial band. So from here, you can either hang out here, give this a little bit longer, or you're welcome to sit up nice and tall. You're going to bring the left knee in so the foot is flat. You're flexing in the ankle so the toes are up off the earth. Right hand grabs a hold of the outside edge of the left foot. So notice the rounding spine I've got. Give me a second to pull and push against the hand and foot. That helps me get the spine to straighten, and I lift the heel up off the earth. So if you're rounded here, take a moment. You can even place the left hand down on the earth and give yourself the ability to get that tall spine. If it's going well for you, you might start to open out towards the twist, opening out the left side body. So again, real tall spine is happening, so maybe I start to kick the leg towards straight. If the rounding happens, rebend. Don't be a hero. You'll only break your body. Big inhale. As you exhale, you're going to return back to straight, facing front. You're going to rebend the knee if you did straighten it, and you lower the heel down onto the earth. From here, knee falls open, right foot bends, or right knee bends to place the foot flat. We're going to cross over for the seated twist, so place the right foot outside the left thigh. Again, both hips on the earth. You're hugging the knee in nice and close to sit real tall. Big inhale in. As you exhale, you're twisting over the right side. Inhale finds length. Exhale deepens the twist. Inhale in tall. Exhale, release the twist. We're going for the open twist on the other side. Nice regal wide across the chest. And then if it feels good, we might even bow in towards the earth so you take the hands wide and you let yourself hover over. So I'm pressing strong with the bottom of my right foot flat into the earth here. It's helping opening my hip. Gently coming back up to center. Let yourself return back to center and then find that fire log pose once more. So lifting nice and tall. If you're not in the fire log, you're in the cross-legged position. If you need to be seated on a block, take that. From here, reaching the heart forward as far as you can. Let yourself start to bow over and soften, breathing into the back space. Feeling how it lengthens the back of your neck, softens the back of the eyes. Everything releases. And if you like things a little spicy, maybe you walk your hands over to the left side of your mat, allowing a deepening in that hip. Also an opening in the side of the waist. Soften the sides of the neck. Soften the eyes. Soften the jaw, the teeth, the gums, the tongue. Gently walk yourself back to center and breathe easy. You're going to whirl on up. And sitting nice and tall, find a cross-legged position. You can release that. So sitting up real tall here, I want to open up the shoulders and neck and heart before we start to wind down and move into our meditation. So what you'll do first is take the hands behind the hips here on the earth. You're interlacing the fingers. Make sure the heels of the hands stay together. We tend to kind of separate them like this when we do this. See if you can really keep that strong connection. From here, you're sitting tall. Roll the heart open, knuckles back and down, breathing into the center of the chest, right in here. Big inhale, long behind the neck. As you exhale, you're going to bend the left elbow, place both hands at the right hip. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see. From here, let the right ear fall towards the right shoulder. Nice and chill here. You start to move the head forward and back. Noticing any tension. So if you don't like this one, but you want to stretch the neck a different way, you can take the hand underneath the right sits bone, sit all the way on the hand, and then let yourself start to lean away. The right ear towards the right shoulder, leaning away from the hip. The further onto the hand you're sitting, the more of a stretch you get. It really gives you that length. The difference is this one will get a little bit more into this spot in the shoulder, just right there at the end. You might even like turning the chin down towards the shoulder, giving that slight rotation. So you'll feel this one all the way up the back of the neck, maybe even in the temple and eyebrows like I do. Letting the chin fall down towards the chest, you gently release off. So from here, take the hands behind the hips. Even if you did the sitting on the hand version, take the other thumb on top, roll the heart open, big inhale in. Heels of the hands together. We're bending the right elbow, placing both hands on the left hip, and then letting the left ear fall towards the left shoulder. Again, if this is not for you, sit on the hand. Sit on the left or right hand and start to lean the left shoulder towards the left ear, then start to lean away from that hand to get the opening here. It gets more length. Rolling the shoulder back and down, you might start to tilt the head forward and back. Feeling the stretch move to this front panel versus the back panel. When it feels good, you turn the chin towards the shoulder, creating that space. Feeling how your breath allows everything to soften. Even though it's activating, it doesn't mean it can't still soften and open. The breath will do that for you. Chin falls down towards chest. Release the hand off. Last thing, take the beach ball. Interlace your hands in front of your heart like you're holding a big ball. Shoulders back and down. Feel how you inhale right into the heart like you're nice and proud. And as you exhale, start to inflate that beach ball so the elbows pull apart from each other. Then send the heart into the back by the shoulder blades. Curve in the belly and send that nice and long. So I have this curve running from my tailbone all the way through my crown. And that's expanding to match the beach ball expansion. Breathing into the back of the heart space. Feel how that separates the shoulder blades from the spine. You might even start to slide the hand side to side, deepening the stretch on one side versus the other, or letting the hands fall down towards the lap nice and slow. Shoulders relax down. You can feel how that moves the stretch up by the neck. When you reach the hands down towards the hips, place the hands on the knees and inhale. Bring your heart forward, reaching. As you exhale, belly button to spine, send the heart back. So it's the same as cat and cow, but seated. Inhale, sending the heart forward. As you exhale, we'll go clockwise around. So clockwise, scooping the rib cage around. Exhaling in the back. Coming around to inhale at the front. Feeling how this is stirring up your energy. It's calming it, soothing it. Last one around, and we'll switch directions at the exhale. Meaning at the back at exhale. We'll move counterclockwise as we go. Inhaling, bringing the heart around. Exhaling back. 2 more of these. Letting the breath be the thing that inspires the movement. And last one. And as you exhale, letting everything release back. Inhale, shoulders up by the ears, find that tall spine. Exhale, let it all settle. From here, we're bending the knees, planting the feet flat. We're coming to a Navasana. And see if you can think of it leaning back into it. So drive the sits bones into the heels, into the earth. Sit nice and tall. From here, I can have my hands behind my hamstrings for support if I want. I can even place my hands behind my hips if I want. So I'm going to have this to start here, just placed behind. But I'm kind of just supporting. So my shoulders on the back of the heart, real wide across the chest like we were in Sphinx, and lifted tall through the spine. From here, I'm coming to my boat pose, which means I'm balancing on my sits bones. I'm driving into the earth. It's giving me that openness. My shins come to parallel with the earth, and I'm sucking up through my core to lengthen out of my crown to do this. You might even bring the hands off now and give yourself that nice big open heart. And as you exhale, we're going to widen the shape just a little bit. You're zipping in and up. Inhale, bring it in to lift. As you exhale, you can go as wide as you feel comfortable. This is just to activate the core a little bit before we settle in. Big inhale. And as you exhale, let yourself lower all the way down. When you get to the earth, adjust on my mat. When you get to the earth, place the feet flat to the ground. Get the shoulder blades on the back of the heart. We're taking just an easy bridge. So get the glutes in nice, the heels nice and close to the glutes. Hands are nice and braced on the earth. As you exhale, press the feet into the earth, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips. My inner thighs are activated. I'm reaching the tops of my thighs towards the front of the room. Just nice, easy line. As I exhale, I want to lower down piece by piece of the spine, giving myself that ease. From here, all you're going to do is walk the feet outside of hip width apart. Give yourself that little release, flexing the ankles, windshield wiper the knees side to side. You might even take the arms to a cactus just to give yourself the heart and shoulder opening. Letting this be easy for the hips and spine. And we'll set up for one more bridge before we settle. So coming back in, place the hands by the hips. So this time, we're going for a full-on bridge pose, which is a little bit different. I still have my heels close to the hips. Instead of just pressing to get the hips in line with the spine, you might even push the feet towards the front of the mat. That's going to bring the heart up towards the face. I'm relaxed behind the neck to help that. My shoulders are strong on the back, on the earth. I might even from here interlace the hands underneath the hips. That will actually help me bring the shoulder blades just a little closer together. So pressing strong into the heels. Feel how this starts to open your body. Inner thighs are engaged, the knees are not flaring open. And that might help, that might actually be what restricts some of your movement. And as you exhale, you're going to release the hands and gently lower down. Take your time. And from here, you send the right leg long, bring the left knee into the chest, nice and strong. Both sides of the waist are long and open. You bring the knee across the body for your twist. Both shoulder blades are on the earth. If the right shoulder blade or left shoulder blade picks up, you have gone too far back out of your twist. You might have a goalpost or out in a T. Whatever you're doing, you're allowing the earth to hold you, to support you, to work with you. As you exhale, you're going to gently bring the knee back into center, and you'll bend the right foot, plant the foot flat. From here, left leg extends, turn out, and place the ankle across the thigh. We're going for figure 4. So maybe a little figure 4 shape. Hand reaches between the thighs, interlace. Nice wide elbows help open everything. And so if you're craving any other poses along the way, feel free to grab anything else. We're going to do the twist on the other side and this figure 4 on the other side. Breathing into the left hip for a moment. Feel that space you create. As you exhale, gently release that, lower down. Take the left heel up towards the sky and extend it long onto the floor. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. Just take a moment here. Before you move into the twist, bringing it across the body, both shoulder blades stay grounded. Arm is in that cactus position for you. Very easy and chill with your flow and your breath. Noticing if you have a tendency to furrow the brow at this point, or if there's any lingering tension, all the little muscles of the face and scalp getting a chance to release. Gently using the core or the hand to bring the leg back in. You're going to bend the left foot, place it flat on the earth, turning out the right ankle across, bring it across the thigh. You're reaching through and giving yourself a nice, beautiful interlace. So you can open up the shape. So my elbow flares wide to help open the hip, leveraging it right here. Notice if you're starting to cut off your breath flow and back out of the stretch into a place where you're able to handle a nice full open breath. If you're cutting off the flow of things, you're only cutting off the muscles from being able to open. It's like practicing blocked energy versus practicing open and flowing energy. And when it feels good, you can gently release that. Send the right heel up towards the sky and place down on the earth. So grab any final poses that you might want before Shavasana. If you're ready for straight up Shavasana, you just relax down, lengthen out your legs on the earth, your whole body. It's called corpse pose for a reason. So just allow your body to be the corpse and allow your awareness to begin to sink into the earth beyond your body. Become aware of your body's connection into the earth. Feeling the points of contact, the back of the heart, the back of the hands, the hips, maybe the calves. Feeling how the earth is so stable and steady, rising up beneath you to hold you. As you settle into your Shavasana, become aware of gravity, of how the earth is holding on to you, caring for you, and working with you. Begin to notice the temperature of the earth beneath you versus the temperature of your body in its practice. And feel yourself like a campfire. Heat and energy contained in its place. Feel the inspiration of your inhales, taking fresh air in. Feel the fire of your exhales, exhaust from that spark, that flame. Feeling how the earth beneath you gives you not only the fuel for your fire, but the ability to shape it, both contain and create it. Become aware of this. This heat, this relationship, and what it makes you. I'll remain here in Shavasana for a few more minutes, allowing all of the ripples to settle, feeling what arises within us, and honoring every piece that comes forward. And gently deepening your next inhale. Slowly drawing your awareness back into your body. Becoming aware of the walls around you, the ceiling above you, and the floor rising up to meet you, to hold you and support you. Become aware of the air around your body, the weight of your clothes, the temperature. And start to awaken the body with small movements, wiggling the fingers and toes. The movement is so contagious, it grows into the circling in the wrists and ankles. And the next thing you know, you give a big reach in all directions, giving a good stretch. And as you exhale, you release all that out. So find your way very gently to a fetal position, taking a moment to cradle your head with the lower arm. And this is that point in your practice when you take a moment and you notice how you feel now versus when you first came onto your mat. And you realize that that is every bit of you. Thank yourself for this feeling you have now. It takes you showing up and doing the work. When you're ready, you can press yourself on out to a seated position. And you will find yourself squarely planted right back in your day. It's the middle of the week, in the middle of the day. So much more possibility ahead of you. All right, and so with that, I hope you feel the power within you and the relaxation necessary to allow it in. And I hope that you have a beautiful way to channel that power today and this week and this weekend and on forward. If you're interested in learning more about me, you can check me out on Instagram, Mindful Michael, all one word. Or I also have a website, mindful-michael.com. There's a lot of really cool things happening. If you're interested in learning about astrology and maybe getting your birth chart read, it's a really fun practice, a beautiful journey in self-knowledge and understanding. And if you're also interested in a tarot reading, check it out because I have a very unique approach to tarot. And it's beautiful. So thank you so much for joining and being the wonderful practice with me. Thanks, SoCal Gal. I really appreciate it. So yeah, with that, I send you off into your day. As I like to say, you are light, you are love, and you are meant to be here. Namaste. Thank you so much. Take care, y'all.